Hi, Becky.
Hey, Glenn, how are you?
I'm well. And yourself?
Good, good.
Good.
Oh, and Howie even made, that's so awesome to see him on Zoom. Eric, are you good with me making you the co-host?
I think so. I will find out, I guess.
Okay, it should be
Yeah.
fine. But it's the best, I can just make you the host because I'm gonna, okay. That way I'm gonna make you the host of the meeting and then I'm gonna take off. And wish you all a wonderful meeting.
Hello.
Hi.
evening.
Have a great meeting, everybody.
Oh, were you leaving?
I'm gonna, I'm
Oh, my.
sorry, I haven't been home yet. I'm getting a little hungry, so.
Oh,
And
we got cherry squares here. Come on down.
Oh, wonderful. Well, you guys have a great meeting. I'm sure you will.
Thank you, Leslie. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
John, thanks for your note.
You
about-
can hear me.
Oh, you're
Why
welcome.
can't I hear you?
You
Where?
can't hear us? Can you hear us?
I'm not hearing.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
Hold on a second.
I tried to tell you what to do, but you can't hear me.
What was it? Mary had a little lamb. Something.
How about now?
I
Can
think
you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, you can now?
Yep, I think so, yeah.
And me as well?
I can hear everybody. If you can hear me, can you hear me? I guess you can.
Yes.
Is this a Verizon commercial?
I know, yeah, exactly. Who are we waiting for? Waiting for Kristen. I think she's coming, as far as I know she is. The police chief.
Uh-huh.
Maybe she's bringing
her sand. Yeah.
Where are you guys there? You're in the, where are you, in the shop or something?
This is my kitchen / living room, fireplace room.
Oh, there you go. How are you, Glenn? You've been somewhere far away for a while, right? Haven't you been?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where were you?
We went to Southeast Asia for 3 weeks.
Oh, my.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah. But we're back now.
Yes, you are.
Wow. 3 weeks. So you toured around? Now you didn't stay in one place.
No, we went Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand.
Oh,
Yeah, cool.
wow.
Yeah, it was cool. Very warm.
I've been there too, but it wasn't cool when I was there.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's right.
Yeah, it was warm. It's summertime temperatures there?
Yeah, I mean, it's tropical. So
Yeah.
northern Vietnam was chilly, but southern Vietnam was, 80s.
Huh.
So
Did you
Nice.
go to the beach, did you?
no, didn't go to the beach once.
No.
Couple of cities, we did a tour. It was really nice.
Yeah, my
Vietnam
son went there a few years ago. Vietnam,
Yeah.
Thailand, Cambodia. He went all over.
Yeah. Vietnam was pretty
Mary.
impressive considering how devastated it was from the war. It was it's come back. Pretty cool. Good for them, I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I guess we'll wait another minute or two until see if Kristen shows up, and then I don't think I have her address here. I could email her or something. I'm not sure I do.
It's police chief at Shutesbury.org.
I think that's right. Hold on just one second. Let me just go in the other room and get my phone.
Okay. So how you were in Vietnam?
Not when you'd want to be there.
Right. Right.
No, flying cargo in and out.
Uh-huh.
And,
What years was that?
72 to 75.
Wow.
I I know everybody says nobody was there after 73, but I got news for them.
No, that's
Yeah.
right. Right. We were definitely
But I
still
was
there.
we used to fly into Da Nang and
Yeah.
Cam Bay and Tonsanut, those three places.
Uh-huh.
So you must have been flying big planes then, right? Like C5A? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you fly, were you actually a pilot of a C5?
No, I was a load man. I was the weight and balance man,
There you go.
loadmaster.
That's an important role.
Yeah, try to keep.
Somebody's
the plane
gotta know.
in the air.
Somebody's
Yeah.
gonna know if it's overloaded.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
hard to overload a C5 though.
Yeah, that's true. I remember talking to this bush pilot once in northern Maine. I used to go up to northern Maine, go fishing all the time. And he said, it's just about getting it off the water. Once it's off the water, he was a seaplane, obviously. Once they get it, once it up, if I'm on the air, it'll
It's
fly.
good, yeah.
I can fly it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's true, but that's what he used to say. He didn't crash as far as I know, so I guess he must have been okay.
No, I never crashed.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, really. I would not want to crash one of those things, boy.
No.
Those are big planes.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet that's true though about the seaplanes. You know, they've got so much resistance on the water.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of drag in there.
It's all about kind of sucking the pontoon. The pontoons are trying to suck you down all the time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
get that thing going. So they often do like something like that. They break the suction as they
Sure.
take off,
Yeah.
But he was a
Awesome.
great pilot, that guy.
Yeah.
I don't see Kristen's. Let's see. Maybe I'll try to call there, see what happens.
Yeah, 911.
Yeah, there you go. Emergency. Yeah, really. Yeah,
Late for a meeting.
I have her number there, 1279. There we go. Let's see what happens here.
Amongst all of her jobs, she probably forgot.
She did text me back, like, earlier in the week. I sent out an email like last week, I guess,
Yeah.
about the meeting. She said, okay, understood. I think that's exactly what she said. She
Mm.
didn't say she was coming, I guess, come to think of it. Just that she understood that's when the meeting was. Let's try this again. 259-1279.
Some water for you. I get you a nice tea if you could.
No, I just had, like I said, just had a coffee and I don't usually drink it quite this early. I usually have one about now.
You do?
So
It
that's
doesn't keep you up?
one in the morning, one at night. And that's it.
I get most of mine.
Half of it the dogs got. They're waiting for theirs.
I get both of mine taken care of by about, I don't know, 6:30. I've already had two. I'm awake. You too? I know you're up early too, aren't you?
I am up early.
Fine, yeah.
Yeah. Took me a while to transition from coming back. I mean, I was up at 3 when we came back from the trip. I'm finally back to like 6 now, but that was that was a rough transition.
It's quiet at 3.
It's true.
What do you do now the lake is frozen?
I've been out on the lake. When the lake was frozen the first time,
You went
Yeah.
out.
the skating was memorable.
Yeah,
That was really special.
it looks
Hey,
rough
Kristen,
now.
it's Eric. We have a meeting tonight, so I don't know if you are up on that or what, but we do have a meeting of the Lake Wyola Study Group tonight. If you can log on, that would be great, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. See you. Bye.
It is rough now, but I saw someone out skating on it, so
Yeah.
maybe they're a better skater than me, or maybe it's not so bad. It's,
See ice fishermen out there, love to find out how thick the ice is.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think
know.
it's so terribly thick, but
Yeah.
4
Someone
inches.
said it was 3 inches there the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, then it melted a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 3 inches, but they said somebody was out on the lake. I'm 3 inches. That doesn't seem like very safe to me, but whatever. Well, I know Kristen's not answering. Well, I'd say let's get rolling. Let's do it, and hopefully she'll show up. If not, we'll fill her in on what we decided.
Yeah.
So the first thing I think we have to do is decide who's the chair of the committee and who's the secretary of the committee. We have to
That's
decide
you.
those.
Isn't that you?
We've already decided.
We've decided. Well, somebody, I can't be the chair and the secretary. I know that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'd rather not be the chair and the secretary. I guess I could be, technically speaking.
Well, I can't be on the committee, so.
No, I know. No, you can't. You're out. You're out.
Yeah.
Neither of you guys want to do it, huh?
Well, what's
You know, you
involved
can
is-
make it very, you can make the notes very simple. I mean, they really, there is, you can ask Grace, but I think there's a form for like, who's there, what, it doesn't have to be, I don't know if you've read the select board notes, but sometimes those
Yeah.
are 4 pages long, but they don't have to be like that.
I've seen the Lake Wyola Advisory Committee notes too.
Yeah, like they can be like that. Yeah, you're right,
Yeah.
exactly. Those are pretty simple.
All right, so at this point, I'll be a secretary, I guess.
All right, you're the
And
man.
Attendees.
Nice.
Now let's be attendees and
Okay,
absentees.
there you go. Very good. I'll be the chair if that's I'll do that. That's cool. And so as far as so now we've had that, I guess we should have an election. Should we have an election, or are we just assuming that'll Are you there, Mary? Mary, are you there?
She was here before.
She
Oh, there you
showed.
are.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Good, cool.
Hi,
I'm here.
Mary.
Hello.
Ryan's here.
Well, I guess we should, all in favor of me being the chair, please say yes, whatever.
Yes,
Yes.
And how about, and John being the secretary, the same thing. I'll say yes
Yes.
to that.
hi.
I noticed John's not saying yes, but
Okay.
he's
Okay.
outvoted.
Ryan, can you hear us, Ryan? Maybe you have
Yeah,
to.
I'm here.
unmute. Okay, hi.
He's there. Hey, Ryan.
Hey,
So there's 2 things that I can think of that we have to decide. I mean, I think the basic thing we really have to figure out is what do we do to, I guess, restrict access to the dam, I guess is what we're trying to get at, or try to, and as I see it, there's sort of 2 ways to do that. One is the more expensive way, which I would personally like to avoid. Probably the butters might like to avoid too. It'd be more fencing and so forth.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. So I think maybe we can just say we don't want to do that. So
Right,
so then I guess
right.
the next option is signage and see what happens. That's why I was hoping Chris would be here, because she's gonna have to be the one who enforces this, it
Yeah.
seems to me.
If she was here, she'd be telling you need the fence.
You think so? I don't know.
And
It might be.
maybe I'm wrong, but that was my impression, but
Well, that's what she said last time.
yeah.
I mean, as an abutter, I think maybe a fence could be an
Right.
option where we can, if we had a fence right along the edge of my property, it would make it a lot less easy for people to walk, the way they do now, right? It would cut off that driveway and you'd be walking along a pretty steep embankment to get there. And maybe a fence and a sign would be enough, just to cut down traffic where it's not so inviting. And it could be a small fence, but right now it's just like a wide open, please come visit our dam,
Yeah.
the way it's laid out. And if it was laid out a little differently with a sign, maybe that would be enough.
Well, maybe we're putting the cart before the horse a little bit here, because maybe we should be talking about your property and access to your property by the town officials, and then that would might shed a different light on where a fence is going to go.
Sure. Yeah, and that's a good point, is I'd like to know what access is needed. I know Howie needs to get to it to make adjustments, but is there ever maintenance access where you need to be able to drive a truck down there?
Yes.
So and how far down do you need to get? Do you need to get all the way down to the house there with the truck?
You do, yes.
Yeah.
I do.
I would say from the town's point of view, personally, I would say that ideally, yeah, we'd want to be able to have sort of a 1-lane access down to the house, as you suggest. Either we buy that land from you guys, figure out how to do that, or have I mean, I know you sort of let us do it anyway right now, but the issue, of course, is like, well, what happens, 50 years from now when you're not here, none of us in this room are here, what happens then?
Sure.
I did
So-
some measure. Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I did some measuring down there of what we need. And I was looking on the Locks Pond side, we would need I thought we would need to go from his boundary line over about 20, 28 feet, which would go to that birch tree and other oak tree that's beside it on the roadside, on the, no, 23 feet on the roadside. And on the back side, on the lake side, we'd need to go 28 feet from your boundary line to a group of trees. And then just, I would suggest, if we did do that, to put a fence that you like, that Ryan likes along that line. I would say maybe would suggest maybe a 2-rail fence or something that would just keep people from being able to walk straight over onto his land.
I'm a little unclear where you're saying that fence would be. So it would be,
The
you're
fence would
standing
be,
on the road looking at the dam. Where would the fence be?
well, it would be
Right-hand side.
on the right-hand side
Yeah.
of the drive-in. There's
Okay.
there's a part of it like a fence there now.
Yeah,
Along that, it would almost follow that to the back of his lot, or to the lake side of his lot. But it'd have to be a little wider in order to get equipment down through there. So that's what I was saying on Locks Pond roadside, we'd need 23 feet. And on the lakeside, 28 feet from his boundary lines that are in the ground, his northern boundary lines.
So
Oh,
is
I
this fence to keep people from going onto his property or to
Correct,
keep people
correct.
keep people off the dam?
No, to keep people off of his property. Then we'd have to decide what we want to do to keep people, if you want to keep people off the dam. That's the next thing one of the other things you got to talk about. Right now, anybody and everybody can go there and swim, fish, sunbathe, and
Bicycle,
bicycle, skateboard.
So
graffiti.
Howie,
Yeah.
those measurements were enough to just encompass the road that's there now, that whole
Yeah, so
driveway?
it's a little bit, well, it has to go a little bit more further over, because it's to the last big trees that you have on your property on the lake side.
Right, okay. I
Yeah.
mean, I would, ideally, we could build up like where you wouldn't need any of my property, right? And you could just go along on the existing lake property and move where that whole driveway is. And, you know, I don't know if you guys want to do that, but that would be my
I'd have to
preference.
build a wall of some sort to,
Right, you need a retention wall and
Yeah.
whatever. But I mean, that would be my preference as the abutter, is I'd rather not sell that land. I'd rather you guys just go around if it's possible.
I think that would be a pretty steep climb against the state's EPA and all that, because you're within 50 feet of the stream and wetlands and
yeah, I think that'd be expensive and hard. That'd be my guess.
yeah.
We could look into it, but when you were talking initially though, Ryan, you were talking about putting the fence all the way on the northern end of your property, right? So is that what you were
No.
saying? Mike, gathering that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the existing line, and then we would just need, some of those fence posts would have to be removable to bring in heavy equipment, where you'd have to go across my property to bring that in. But the rest of the time, there'd be a fence that would sort of be along the line that would make it pretty clear to anyone going. They'd have to go like way across my property, and they'd be blocked in by the fence, right? They'd have to
Right.
go-
I'm wondering if, we should, when we decide this issue in a sort of more finished way, we should just all meet there sometime and just say, here's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense? Because that,
I mean, feel free to just go down there and walk the property, everyone walks across it anyway. So
right.
yeah,
go walk around and see what we're talking about. I mean, you can see the posts from, they just did the assessment. So all the stakes are still there.
Yeah,
And, you guys, if we put a fence in there, you don't have to buy the property at all. I'll just agree to give you access right across the property as needed. And you could remove that, in exchange for the fence going in. And we handle all of this without having to buy property and change that much, something like that.
Would we
So-
put that in
so
a
I
deed or
think,
something? I'm sorry, Mary, go ahead.
So I think it's a good idea to actually go out there and walk it with people to look at it. But, so my question would be, why not just put a gate at the beginning then? Why do you need a whole fence as opposed to just put a gate, an openable gate across there
On the roadside, yeah,
on the roadside?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
at the beginning, put a gate so only
Yeah.
authorized vehicles could go in there.
That's okay with me, but it's not my land.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's so easy to walk around a gate. I mean, we had talked about putting just a chain across
Well,
the entrance to that driveway.
I do have the chain. I just haven't put it up because it's winter time and if I have to plow out through there. As soon as this winter's over, I will put the chain up on and across that and hang one of your signs on the chain. Saying it's
Yeah,
private.
I mean, honestly, I'm worried about if you're plowing it and fishermen are using then as that is access, it just invites people to use that as a parking spot. So,
Well,
I don't know.
yeah, well, I could put it up now if you want.
yeah, I mean, I prefer that. The liability is very concerning.
Yeah,
Well, Mary's idea is not a bad one. I mean, if we could put a gate or some kind of fence on that would at the roads, right at the road where the road ends.
No,
or
I
you
mean,
know,
you're putting a gate at the entrance to one of my driveways. I don't know how that helps the situation, right? The walkers will just walk right around it. And so
Yeah,
you
I
can
suppose
do that,
that's-
but it doesn't really address the issue.
Yeah,
So are you looking to prevent people walking around it or cars? Because people are gonna walk around a gate, they're gonna walk around a fence. You know, what stops them from walking around any
Sure.
of that?
No, the idea was if we have a fence along the edge of my property, the property drops off at that point. So it becomes a lot less inviting, right? And so you'd have to walk all the way across my property down to the water and back around, depending on how close the fence went to the water, which will be a lot more obvious that you're trespassing as opposed to the way it's laid out now.
also on a gate on the end there, that means I gotta park in the road in order to open the gate to go over and park off the road.
right.
I don't think that's a very good idea.
What are people's availabilities to go look at this sometime? Ryan, do you work, you're not here, right? You're somewhere, I don't know.
No,
where you-
I'm down in Connecticut, but I mean, I could make it up if needed, but I don't think you necessarily need me there to go walk it. I've walked it so many times, so
Yeah,
you go ahead and you guys can go look and make a proposal.
yeah. Well, John,
I mean-
or Howie, you got a good idea where all the lines are, right? Where the property
Yeah,
line.
yeah, I know where they are.
Yeah,
So
so
it's still staked out. It was just a
Yeah.
sense. The stakes are there.
okay.
So, sorry, just to follow up on, needing access, what kind of maintenance happens? Do we need to get like a large truck down there, like a full-size truck, or are we just talking about your truck, Howie?
No, well, they're gonna have to have, we gotta do some work down there. I guess when they do the culvert, we gotta do some work also out on the dam if it's when the water's down. We gotta do the work on the spillway. We have had to bring a backhoe down through there also to do work.
Okay, so that's sort of what we need to allow is something as big as a backhoe. to
Yeah,
drive
right.
in there.
Yeah, I would think so. And I would
Right, and
think
so-
it could be written in a deed or anything, that it could be something that was done only for that reason. That's the only reason it would ever be used.
Well, just for
Yeah.
maintenance for the dam. That's the only.
Yeah, right, in that, yeah.
Right, and so I'm willing to allow access for that as needed, right? Without you guys having to buy that property, if we could work something out.
Sure. Would you be up, is it okay, would you be fine with some kind of, like a deed? I don't even know what a right of way, I'm not a lawyer, but,
Yeah, I don't know how
I think you can do an easement.
an
Yeah.
easement.
That just,
Right.
and what specifically that's for.
And that survives the current members here. So if Ryan sells the property, that easement goes with the property.
Right. That, I think, just from the town's point of view, I would think that's what we'd want to solve, is a problem that made Ryan happy now, was okay now, or he'd accept it or whatever, was good for him, or good enough for him, and also would allow the town to have continued access, if, 100 years from now, theoretically, when we're all long gone, they can get something in there to fix it if they have to.
Yeah.
Can easements be specified such that will indemnify Ryan if that backhoe tips over on what is his property? I mean, he has to look out for his concerns too. If he
Yeah,
does
yeah.
grant the easement,
I don't know the answer to that, but my guess is we would have the town attorney look at
Yeah, we could
whatever.
put that language in there where I just have to provide access and I'm not liable, and
And
that
you're
that
not
would be
liable.
fine with that. And so
Okay.
I think we can all agree, yeah, this should end up with being an easement on the property that we have to provide access. We can't build something to prevent access through there, and I think that works.
Okay.
Besides the other details, but I mean, there's a lot of other options to consider for a fence or, limiting access, which I guess the most basic is just put up a sign or a fence or something. I think a fence would be nice from just as an abutter, just to distinguish where the edge of the property is. And then at the end of that fence, they could be removable posts. So then when you need to get a big truck down there, you remove that, but there wouldn't be such, right now it's just a road that goes right there. So
Right.
the fence would cut right through where that road is right now.
Well, does it make sense that those of us that can meet there at some point in the near future and look at it?
Hey,
yeah, I'm
What's
pretty much available.
I go there every day.
Every day, there you go. Well, that's hard to beat that for availability.
Mine's pretty close.
Yeah,
I'm away next week.
You gone next week?
Yeah,
I'm gone next.
I'm pretty free, and I'm
Yeah.
sure if you give Kristen a time, she could come out and walk with us too.
Sure.
yeah, I would guess. I mean, do you want to try to do that this week sometime? Like, I guess we'd either be Thursday or Friday, or next week, or what? We could just pick a date and try pencil it in right now, and I can run it by Kristen and see if that works for her.
Just let me know.
Thursday and Friday are supposed to be really bad weather, so.
Yeah.
Good
that's true,
point.
too.
No, that's a very good point.
Yeah. Well, I'm still there.
Yeah. No, I've already,
Because of the weather.
Any
Yeah.
day but the 24th.
yeah. How about next Tuesday, the 17th? I have a select board meeting that night, so it'd be good to, I can maybe report whatever we decided.
Yeah.
If that makes sense to people. Does that make sense to people?
Yeah.
Sure. What time?
What's a good time? Is that good for you, Mary?
Yeah, I think that's, I actually have a doctor's appointment that morning, so
Oh, we could make it in the
I'll go
afternoon.
if it was the afternoon, yeah.
All right, we can do that. Well, we want to do it before dark, and so is 2 o'clock good? Is that good for you? 1, 2, you tell me.
Yeah, I think 2 would be fine for me.
All right, well, let's shoot. Is that good with 2? Unbelievable, we've already made a decision. It's only half an hour. Pretty good. 2 o'clock,
moving.
1:17. All right, well, anybody's welcome.
Yeah, I don't think I'll make it, but let me know how it goes.
No, it's if obviously whatever we decide or recommend or whatever, you'd be part of, you'd be
Sure.
talking, you'd hear it from us first. So,
So-
yeah,
I think the other question besides, if we build a fence or not, or whatever, is do you want to put up a no trespassing sign, or do we have the ability to do that and restrict access to the dam? Is that going to fly, right? Because is that the proposal, to just say there's no public allowed and Howie's the only person allowed on the dam, or are we proposing something else?
So does anybody remember what the signs say now? There's signage up now. I just
Use
don't
at your own
remember.
risk.
Yeah, use at your own risk. Well,
That should
okay.
come down right away.
yeah. Should be authorized personnel only, in my opinion.
The only question I had personally was to sort of ban everybody, if you will. The only question I had was fishermen. I don't know whether you can say, because I sort of hate to say to some guy that goes out there and fishes that you can't do that. You know,
Yeah.
what I mean, I hate doing that. I hate rules. But on the other hand, if that's the fair way to do it,
I don't know how you restrict one thing and not restrict the other, you know, I don't know. Plus, if it's a safety issue, which it is, a fisherman can fall off the back of the dam too.
yeah,
and
but
that's-
they aren't swim. Yeah, that's true.
That's
They aren't
true. They're not
swimming,
as-
yeah.
Yeah, then it's true. They're not as prone to or anything, but
No, you're right.
when Kristen comes into the conversation, she's gonna, I believe she's gonna talk about safety for all. And
Well, that's the obvious thing is to make it, what were you gonna say, Glenn? You wanted to say something.
I did, but as not a member of the committee, I just wanted to make sure I'm recognized as talking.
No.
So, the town we used to live in had waterfront on a river, and they restricted access to town residents. Whether that's a positive or a negative, it's a way of I don't know, keeping accountability and making people responsible and limiting the number of people who can access it. So it wouldn't be college kids coming up with a keg, you know, at the beginning of the semester and, you know, etc. So that's a possibility. So limiting it just to town residents, because I know there's a lot of people in the town who come and sit on the dam in the evening in the summer. They take advantage of the fact that it is a town property. So, and I would like to see that kind of flexibility maintained. I understand that there's concerns about, you know, people in the summer with kids and not watching them and hazards and etc. But I would hate to see all access to the dam restricted.
And I can agree with that, but it brings me to the other point. Well, who checks that? I mean, who monitors that? Who patrols that? I've had too many conversations, and Howie's had many more conversations with people about what they're doing there. So, you know, it's good natured and everything, but how do you administer that? How do you take care of that?
So it would be nice if Kristen was here.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
I mean, I know some of those people who you're talking about there, Glenn, and I know that they're out there having an evening adult beverage or whatever. And hey, they're good friends of mine, whatever, but
Yeah.
they could fall off the back of the dam. You know what I mean?
What about a railing for the back of the dam? I mean,
can't.
it's-
You cannot.
why not?
The dam is made for overtopping. And if it overtops and when it does overtop, there's going to be branches and stuff coming down through. And that's going to act like another dam.
You could flood your property, Ryan, I think, potentially.
Yeah,
It's just such a dramatic drop off
yeah.
that some kid is gonna fall over that. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be expensive, you know?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I don't think it has happened yet. That's
No.
one. And I would just hate to see the liability fear dominate the aesthetic beauty of the lake. So
Yeah. Yes, some nice people sit out there at night. Fishermen, you know, I've talked to some that would be no problem. I'll find somewhere else to fish. But other ones, oh, this is one of our favorite spots, and we come here a few
Yeah.
times a year. You know,
Yeah.
but one of the main reasons I sent out the first letter was the number of instances and conversations and confrontations and nice conversations for people who were not. They should be somewhere else doing what they were doing. Let's put it that way, you know?
Right.
So,
Well, as a committee, well, how do we feel about, I mean, I guess that's the first question. The general question is like, do we ban everybody? That's the first question, because that'll make it a lot easier in a sense. I mean, or it's certainly a lot clearer. And like you say, I suspect that's what Kristen's gonna say, because she's not gonna have police. That right now, if a police person drove by, they'd have to get out of the car and go see. And if you'd had it the other way, where people could still, town residents, so forth, they'd still have to go see who the person was and do they have an ID?
Yeah.
There's gonna be work for them. That's all. More work than if there's
No,
just.
and those
there.
people are still gonna be walking across my property to get there, which is not really okay.
It's
Right.
true
True.
too.
No, that's a very good point.
So
There
I
is
think
other access.
it would be nice to not ban everybody from the dam. Because there are some people that get good use out of it. I know I've heard Kristen talk about it before, that, you know, that they could do patrols, but it's a lot. You never know when the people are there, and unless somebody calls them to do it, it's hard for them to patrol it probably, or enforce whatever rules you have as easily as one might think.
But if you do allow people to go out there, you're gonna have to have a way for them to get there, and not the way it is now. They have to go down to the opening and the guardrail. That's the way they're supposed to go, and then cross over the brook and then get back up onto the dam. That's not a good idea. Anybody could slip or slide on those rocks, and then we've got another problem.
Yeah, it's also a protected area that
I
people
was gonna
shouldn't be
say, yeah, for
walking
the
on.
Conservation Commission.
If you're gonna allow them, you gotta have a way for them to get there.
Yeah, that's,
And it's
And as
gonna have to
Ryan's
be-
suggesting, we don't want them on his property
So,
either.
and you don't want them on the other side, so how are they gonna get there? I mean, it's dangerous on the other side, let's put it that way. Or it could be. And in the
Dustin-
springtime, on the other side, on the side towards Glen, they're not gonna get through there anyhow. Not when the water's coming down through there.
It's true.
What were you gonna say? Were you gonna say something, Glenn?
I was gonna make a joke. Dustin's not here, so they could come through the Kinder's property.
Yeah, there you go. Here, yeah, put a big sign, flashing neon sign. Want to go to the lake? Yeah.
We'll tell them what we decided.
Yeah, right. Well, he didn't come to the meeting, so we.
so I
I mean,
think, so
there,
the people that are there at night or sitting and enjoying, how are they getting there? Are they driving their cars and parking along the street?
And that's another issue.
On the side of the road, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they walk through Ryan's land to get to the dam.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I was there before and I've looked at it before, I've looked at the situation, I said, now you gotta ban everybody. Then I'm thinking, I haven't been fishing for years, but I mean, I used to fish all the time. I'm thinking, well, you don't want to ban fishermen. They're just sitting there, there's some guy out there fishing, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So
But
there is another access way besides going across the stream, is if you go in where the barrier ends and you go down where it's level into the wetland and back up, there's like a little path there. I mean, neither is great, but that's all on Shutesbury town property at that point.
I got a little-
And I mean, if I put up a fence today, that's where people would be forced to go, would be around and along the side there without having to jump the stream. And I mean, if that was built up just slightly, that would be a reasonable way to get there. And I mean, what about with the culvert? If they're doing major construction, can they include just having a path for a truck to go to the dam that is wholly on Shutesbury town property as part of that?
When they do the culvert, so wonder if they could create a path to go to the dam.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
where are
is
they
there
gonna,
enough land to do that?
because I hope they're not planning on putting all that heavy equipment on my property when they're gonna do the culvert, right? They're gonna need to put it,
The culvert's on, no. It should be on the road.
Yeah, they're supposed to close the road off and use the road, but
Yeah.
I don't think they can build a pathway for a truck where the culvert and that's gonna go, because again, it's still wetlands in there. And
yeah, it's conservation land there.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think that they would, that would get allowed.
There's a weir down there.
Yeah. they're gonna have to go down into the conservation to move the weir.
Hi, Ryan, we've never met, but you really want to keep that property is what I'm surmising.
No,
from-
I mean, that would be easiest. If it comes down to it that we need to sell the property, I guess that's fine. It just seemed easier.
No, I think it's easier not to. If we can set up something that you're happy with, that we're happy with, it's
'Cause-
better
'cause-
not to.
Yeah, and the only reason it sort of has to be the way it is now is when you're trying to maintain people's access to be able to walk to it, which we're trying to stop anyway, so.
Yeah.
I don't know that you need it, except for occasionally driving a bulldozer down there, that you can go right across my property and we will have the removable fence.
Right.
Because, yeah, I mean, I might want to put a house down close to the edge of that property right there. You know, I want to be able to develop that area of the property because it's.
Condos,
fun to
perhaps,
live.
condominiums?
Yeah, exactly. High rise.
Hotel, casino.
And then town
mean-
could sell you the dam.
Yeah.
It's a thought.
Well, I guess the question, we're still down to that same question of do we want to set up a policy that bans everybody? I guess, and it's not, well, everybody's not associated with the town or therefore an official business. Do we think we have to sort of bite the bullet and do that?
I just think you're going to eventually.
I think that might be true, but I'd like to go look and walk it
Yeah, I think,
just to see, are there any options
Right.
before we get there?
Sure, that makes sense.
think you'll, if you take a look at it, you might think differently about some of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We could just kick that can down the road, as it were, until next Tuesday when we can look at everything and try to imagine how we'd set it up so that people could get there in a way that's not walking over Ryan's land
If that's possible.
or conservation land. And I'm not sure that's possible, but if it is, let's look at it. And then, well, just what we'd have to do to beyond that. Does that make sense?
I'm gonna make next Tuesday. So if I could just chime in with a couple of last things. I think a barrier and a sign at least makes the trespasser acknowledge that they're trespassing. Whether it makes them stop or not, probably not. But
Right.
if there's then a fine associated with that, then that becomes maybe more of an incentive not to do. And I think a lot of the misbehavior on the dam was really accelerated with the pandemic. It obviously was happening before that. It's been happening really since the state beach, and more people have become aware of Lake Wyola, et cetera. But I think it really amped up in the last few years. And I think if you simply let people know, that what their behavior is damaging this property, and that's not okay, that might deter some people.
I think it would deter some people for sure.
Yeah.
As a friend of mine used to say, he'd say, "Look, we're at a house one time where we're putting a really flimsy lock on the door. He said, it'll keep the honest thieves out."
That's right.
It's sort of
Yeah,
like
so
that.
There's been very few honest people who've paid any attention to the no trespassing sign.
Yeah,
I
right.
could put it. It's people just don't pay any attention to it.
Right.
I do like the idea of associating a fine with it. Whether it stops anybody, it might make people think twice at least.
We
And
need buy-in from Kristen that they're going to enforce it, right? As soon as you have a police enforce no trespassing, word's going to get around pretty quick that you're
Right.
not allowed at all.
Right.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with the fine is make it, the other thought I had about any kind of signage, we might want to make it we might want to make it Spanish and English, because it seems to me there's definitely Spanish speaking people use the place too.
Yeah.
Yeah. One question would be, I guess, how should the sign just say no trespassing, or should it list all the things you can't do there? No fishing, no bicycles, no whatever, no swimming, no, go down the list.
Yeah, no trespassing is all inclusive, right? You're gonna get a
Right.
fine.
But I
I
think
mean-
it's a little vague. I think you should make it, this is town property. And,
Right.
You are then, responsible to town laws.
Yeah, I would tend to think that that might be true. That, I mean, I think Ryan's right. Certainly no trespassing is no trespassing, but
Yeah, no trespassing, $500 fine. It goes to me.
here you go.
Pays for the fence.
Oh, yeah,
I think we should
Right.
put up a surveillance camera too then,
yeah, right.
Would the sign wordage not be something you would check with the town
Attorney.
attorney about as to?
Oh, yeah, no, I think
what
we
it
would.
should probably could advise, exactly how it should be, what should be on there and how it should be worded.
Right.
Yes, you would have to do that because I know when they've talked about it before, there's several concerns about the wording of the sign.
Yeah. And there's one there, use at your own risk. It seems to me is
I think-
giving just the wrong message altogether.
No, I think that's old school. I think that one's gone.
I think that one, well, that one about the falling off the dam there,
Yeah,
that anybody can look and see you can fall off the dam there.
if you're standing on the edge of the dam, you have to read that
Because
little
we-
sign that says fall hazard in front of you, like you didn't know it, and it's just,
Yeah,
the
right.
only thing it does is messes up Glenn's view as far as
Right.
I'm concerned.
Well, my view too, looking the other way.
Right. Danger, gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's those kinds of signs, that like you think you're indemnifying yourself or warning somebody, but they know that, and you can't just indemnify yourself by putting up a sign.
Yeah.
My understanding.
And the fall isn't bad. It's where you,
It's
the end. Put your land down, it's not so good.
right.
So,
Well, I mean, I'm in favor of I personally, I'm sort of in favor of the fine idea, whatever
Yeah.
or maybe first offense, second offense, I don't know, whatever, maybe just have it $500 or whatever the number is the first time. And I agree that's probably will scare some people off for sure. But yes, we'd have to run that by the attorney and by Kristen and see. I'm not quite sure how that works. I mean, does someone get a ticket? They get written a ticket? I mean, they're not arrested. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Right.
And I would think a sign that said no trespassing, that sort of explained a little bit too. So it said no trespassing. This is a working dam, dangerous, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No A, B, C, D, and just list all the stuff that we can think of that you can't do there.
Yeah.
And I don't really see what, except it costs to make more money to make that sign. I can't really see what harm is in doing that.
yeah, you're right.
For
No,
me
I think
personally,
when we look, we'll have to look for a spot where you would put the
Right.
signage.
Right. That's
For
also
me-
true.
for me personally, I violate several of the things that you talk about at least 3 times a week in the summer. I cross the stream, I carry my boat over, and I launch my rowboat from the spillway. So is that going to be,
Hope you get a lot of money.
will, will that be restricted?
That was the idea. That
I hate you all.
well, there you go.
Maybe there's some sort of limited permit process or something,
her grandfather,
grandfathered in.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
you laugh, but really,
Yeah, I mean, the only thing about that kind of thing is it gets really tough to enforce. In other words, like,
Yeah.
how's a police officer who lives not necessarily in the town, they walk up and they see Glenn putting his boat in, they go, well, how do they know Glenn's not from Chicopee up for the weekend, whatever, throwing his boat in the pond? They don't know.
he's the one
Glenn
who's
can get in
taking,
my yard if he wants.
Yeah, there you go.
That could solve the problem.
All right.
Yeah,
Glenn's the one that's taking care of the dam on the lakeside. Doing patrolling the lakeside of the dam.
yeah.
That's it.
So tell me, we have to specify him as an authorized personnel. I'm back to the authorized personnel on the
So we
sign.
can, we'll deputize them.
Great.
Yeah.
Is
Does
there
that
a
mean
hat
he's gonna
with that?
write
Imagine-
tickets and enforce everything?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. You can help out on that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
as in a butter, it would seem, and Ryan too, they would maybe would have certain rights that other people wouldn't, you know? It's where, I mean, another question for an attorney.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just guessing, and I'm not an attorney. I'm just guessing, as soon as you start getting all the what, well, but on the but, you know, like then it gets fuzzy fast, I would think.
I know.
Yeah, it's really hard to let somebody do something that you're excluding other people from.
Yeah, because they're gonna say, hey, that guy's doing it. John's up there putting his boat in, or whatever it is. You know, it's like, you know, whatever. Yeah.
Well, Glenn, you know Dustin very well?
I know him, yeah.
That's only like another 6 feet over. Maybe we could talk to him about because he wants people restricted from the dam. So he might be very amenable to, you know.
Have to cut that brush down there, though,
get the
That's
brush
right.
In between.
That's right.
which would be a good idea.
'Cause-
Yes, that's true, it would. Well, I mean, that's a completely selfish personal feel, but
No, but you bought the place there with intention of doing that. It's
That's-
understandable that, you know, that's how you feel. you know?
the dam is my access to the lake. Not that I'm entitled to it, but
Yeah.
that is the way I get to it.
Right. No, I understand that too.
So do you mind, if I ask, so where do you live, Glenn, in relationship to the dam?
I'm on the corner of Locks Pond and Lakeview,
Okay,
so the north corner there, north of the stream.
okay.
Well, and then the other question I suppose might be if you need two signs, you might need more than one sign, like one sort of on that conservation land near Glenn's house and one near Ryan's road there. I mean, there's
Yeah.
two different places. Because that's where people are gonna walk in both places theoretically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to be a hard ass, but I do sort of feel like you just sort of have to say nobody that's not authorized to be here, and that's what I think you have to do.
Yeah.
I think, as John says, I think that's what Kristen's gonna say. I mean, I think we're wasting our time. I think she's gonna say we can't do that.
Yeah. She's not gonna ferret out who could be there, what they're doing or whatever,
Yeah.
so. And I don't know if we could expect them to do that.
Right.
You
Oh.
may have an uprising though from the Shutesbury town residents who park there and use it. They're not gonna be happy
No, they're not.
about it. So I would brace for that.
Yeah, well, yeah. They
Yeah.
already hate me probably, so I'm ready. No.
I agree, you're gonna get a lot of pushback, but they've been trying to keep people from parking along there because it's a hazard too, so, you know, figuring out how to keep people from parking is part of the issue.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know at least one of the people I know who's one of those people has responded the opposite way. They said, well, you know, if it's for the greater good of the town and blah, 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 I understand that that's been their attitude. So does that all, I'm not sure, I'm not saying that's the majority. I just know there's one person who said that. So some people at least have said that.
Well, maybe if they can't use that area, the town will go and fix the town beach and make it more usable,
Yeah, that's true.
You know, the boat launch.
the boat launch area. And they used to use that area. They didn't until you repaired the dam, they didn't used to come down there. There was no swimming off the dam. There was no boat launching off the dam. They had a few fishermen and that was it.
Yeah.
And then when they repaired the dam or fixed the dam, everybody comes now.
Yeah.
No, but that's a good point about the town beach, about, you know, maybe
You know,
there
give
has
them
been
an
talk of,
alternative,
Yeah.
a place to go.
yeah,
And I think people around the lake, the association anyway, has been kind of not really advertising where the boat launch is because they don't They don't want more boat traffic. So
Yeah.
if you put a sign at the dam saying, the town beach is, quarter of the mile up the road.
Yeah.
That maybe because a lot of people don't know. I see
Right.
them drive their boats back and forth, around the corner trying to find the public boat launch. So if you let them know, it's up at Randall Road.
Yeah,
Well, there's already a kayak launch down by the cove.
Yeah.
on the inlet side.
On the inlet side, and
Can't think of the name of the road there.
limited parking there. Yeah, I walk it every day. I don't know.
Last road before you get to the,
Because the type of boats we're talking about mostly are, smaller watercrafts, as far as launching boats there.
Merrill, is that Merrill Drive?
It's Merrill, yeah.
Yeah, it is Merrill, okay.
Well, where should we go where should we go tonight? I guess that's the question. Can we go any further tonight should we just plan on looking at the thing and then sort of,
I think you'll get a better idea.
yeah,
Once you take a look at it, of what we're talking about, anyhow.
Right, because
Yeah.
there's an objective. We've got to keep him off Ryan's property, whether he lets us use it for getting at the dam or not. So what we decide about who's going to get out there might be moot if there's no way for them to get out there by keeping them off Ryan's property. So
right. Yeah, I mean, that'll be my point. If we want to keep them off Ryan's property and off the conservation land or the stream and all that area,
right.
how else do you do it unless you're dropped in by helicopter or something? How do you get there?
Well, helicopters aren't allowed either.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Don't give anybody an idea.
No.
Yeah, so we should meet down there.
If I could just make one last comment,
Yeah.
I think going all the way to restricting it to no one having access to the dam, although that's maybe the easiest. I would prefer, if just as an abutter and as a person who uses the dam, to go somewhere in between, somewhere where you try to restrict but not eliminate people using the dam.
Mhm.
That's my personal opinion.
So how would you do that? What would, I'm not saying you're wrong.
I'm
How would
on the committee. That's your job.
you- That's my question. That's the question I
good,
have is
Glenn.
really is how would you say you can and you can't, that's,
I get that. And town resident is one way, or I don't know. I don't know. Saying the things that you can't do there, like you can't pitch a tent, you can't bring your charcoal grill, you can't bring a keg, you can't pee on the dam, those kinds of, but they seem obvious. You can't ride your bike, you can't skateboard. They seem obvious, but maybe that's it. I don't know.
so you can stand there. Well, I'm serious. You said that's sort of what we're saying.
And
I mean, you want a fishing only sign, right? Is fishing the only thing that is sanctioned?
That's not
Kind of.
sanctioned. Well, that is sanctioned now in the sense that it's use at your own risk, right? It's essentially.
I mean, that's
allowed
really
now.
the only thing that we're okay with them doing. You don't want people swimming, you don't want them launching boats. That's what the signs say. And it's like fishing only. I don't know.
So if you do it by steps, then see what it does for the season. Is that what you're saying? Like, no, you restrict certain things with signage, no swimming, no boating, that sort of thing, and then see what that does for a season.
I mean, it already says that. It already says, well, no swimming in the designated area, I
In the
guess.
designated area.
That's right where the gate shack is. Though.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
they don't want them going down through the pipe.
yeah.
I mean, we could do it. I mean, I think what you're suggesting, Ryan, and I've thought of that too, is just sort of, we try and sort of like along Glenn's idea, you sort of try one set of restrictions. And if that doesn't work, then, then you maybe have to tighten, maybe you have to make it everybody. So maybe there is a way to do it. Some people, sometime, I don't know how to do the whole resident idea or fisherman only or whatever it would be. And then see if that works.
but there's multiple complications here. We're gonna keep them off Ryan's property.
That's also true, yeah.
And so there's no swimming and no boating and you can do anything else, but you're on your own to get out there. I mean,
Yeah, right. Got to fly out there.
so.
Yeah.
you know,
I think you should get a permit to fish too, you know?
Or you
Yeah,
do
right.
have a permit. I think the police have already checked in the past anyway for whether you have a permit for fishing or not.
Yeah, I
license?
know when I was there one time, I know you could see people had their tag on there. They were permitted.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, John's right that like that it still boils down to the only way anybody can get there is to sort of get there illegally or incorrectly, or you want to call it dangerously, or whatever, whatever word you want to use, or words. Yeah, well, let's just look at it next Tuesday and we'll see if we can think of see if anything brilliant comes to mind.
All right, sounds good to me.
And then I think we have another meeting scheduled. I'm gonna say it's the 25th, which I guess we'll just keep that. I'll just keep that on the schedule. And hopefully, well, maybe we won't need it, but we'll, if we, I guess we probably will. We'll just meet next week and we'll meet again on the 25th, because then that way Ryan can go and Glenn can go and whatever people can go that may not be at that little party we have next Tuesday.
Okay.
BYOB?
You guys are bringing the keg, right? Right. All right.
For sure.
Fireworks.
Fireworks. right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that on my list, fireworks. Why didn't I think of
Okay,
that?
no, yeah, no fireworks.
I was thinking of all the things you'd have to ban. It's like, you know, fireworks, grills, tent, kegs, swimming, loitering, chairs. If you go down the list, it's like, you know, that there's 30, if you banned everything, you'd sort of have to really go down this list and make it very extensive, I would think. Tents. I mean, and maybe that's okay. I mean, maybe that's the way we do it. Anyway.
All right.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess we'll, I hear a motion to adjourn till next Tuesday. at
I
2
so
o'clock.
move.
Do I hear a
Motion,
second,
I'll second,
any discussion?
second.
All right. So I guess we'll call us at meeting and see everyone, or see a bunch of us anyway next Tuesday, and then again on the 25th, we'll do it again and hopefully have some more discussion. And I'll see if I can see if the attorney can come to that meeting too. Maybe she can on Tuesday. I don't know if that's worth trying to get her there or not. I don't know. Might
okay.
be.
Uh-huh.
Are there other members of of this committee that aren't here tonight?
Just Kristen, I believe. Kristen is the only one, that the police chief.
Okay,
And obviously we'll try to see if she can come too.
okay.
And yeah. All right, well, off we go.
Okay,
Very
very
good.
good. Thank you,
See you all
everybody.
later. Thanks very much.
My,
All right, thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming,
Good
Glenn
evening.
and Ryan. Good to
Thank
see you guys, or talk to you, whatever.
Thanks for including us.
Yeah,
Take care.
thanks.